Hello there, I'm Brian from Swain Racing. We're going to be rebuilding the GM Turbo-Hydramatic 350 transmission today. If you haven't seen the disassembly, please go to my websites and have a look. It will help you in assembling the transmission. So if you want to go to brianswainonline.com, swainracing.ca or swainracing.com, the disassemblies are on there for the Turbo-Hydramatic 350 and Power Glide and for Turbo 400. So if you're not sure, just have a look there. It'll give you the skinny on what's going on here, because obviously we're starting to rebuild. So you want to make sure that you get everything cleaned up. Everything's nice and clean. You've got your seal kit. I suggest you buy a complete seal kit with bushings, clutches, seals, gaskets. Make the job much easier for you. If you have any burnt steels, clutch plate steels, please get them replaced, buy new ones. If they're not burnt, you can sand them with 120 grit in a circular motion so that you can reuse them. Also the bushings, go over all the bushings in the pump, in your drums, anywhere there's a bushing, in the extension housing, in the drive shell. There's 2 in here. If they look worn, please get them replaced, and then you'll have a real good rebuild to go by for years to come. So we'll get started soon. Thanks. Okay, if you haven't replaced the seal for the manual shaft yet, get a hook tool, go in, remove the spring, the spaces the lever out here. Go ahead and get your 11/16 wrench. Back that nut off. That'll allow you to pull the manual lever out. And take the rooster comb and the actuator rod off. Pull the lever out. I've already cleaned mine up, but you're going to find it's going to be very rusty. Take it on a wire wheel, get it cleaned up. And go ahead and get a large screwdriver, pop the seal out. There's a new seal in your kit. Get a 9/16 socket, get it started in there and tap it in with the socket. Then we can go ahead and put some oil or some lube on that seal so we don't tear it. And get your cleaned manual lever up. Get it started in there, get the rooster comb and the actuator rod back. Line it up in the rectangular hole. Go ahead and get your nut back on there. Go ahead and get our spring. We can go ahead and tighten the nut up. So depending on what shifter you're using, I've gone ahead and put the stock one back on. If you're using an aftermarket shifter, and there's another lever you're going to want to put on there, depending on what shifter it is you're using. Next, what we want to do is do the accumulator. This can be a little bit of a chore. So you've first got your piston. You want to go ahead and get your piston put in there. You've got your large spring. A lot of times these will be broken when you take it apart. If it is broken, the transmission will experience a very harsh 1-2 shift. And some hot rodders for street performance just leave the spring out. They don't put it back in just to give it a harsh 1-2 shift. You've got your seal. There's just a ledge that sits on in here. And your cover. And the snap ring. And what I do is I try to, you're not going to be able to see this. Okay, I moved the camera so you can see this. What I do is just take a hammer. You can depress that. Get that spring depressed. Then get your snap ring snapped in. You want to make sure, you'll see a hole in the back of the case here. You want to make sure that that snap ring is over that hole, so when it has to be removed again, you can get a tool in there to release that snap ring. Okay, so we want to go through all our gear sets. Spin all the gears, make sure there's no excessive play in them, no chipped teeth, etc. Just inspect them all visually, make sure the gears are in good shape. Good visual inspection of everything just to make sure there's nothing that has to be replaced. Needle put shaft, any races, etc. This is a direct drum. There's a sprag in here we want to have a look at. Just a snap ring here. Take the snap ring off. Now this is a one-way clutch. See, it turns one way and locks the other. So you can just spin that off. And this is the sprag here. Now this sprag here is not the best of the sprags. There is a high performance model that you can use, a 34 element sprag. But you have to get an early drum to use it. With this drum, the 34 element sprag cannot be used. So you'd have to try to find an early model drum, and then you can put a high performance 34 element sprag in. But for this sprag here, we want to make sure that there's rollers in here. We want to make sure that none of these springs are broken. If they're broken, usually when you pull this off, the rollers will fall out and they will break down the middle, split in half. As long as it's in good shape, we can go ahead and we can reuse that. And again, to put it on, it's one way, so just turn it to one way and you lock back on there. And go ahead and put the snap ring back on. That's a direct drum. This is a forward drum. So we've got our two pistons. We'll go in our kit. That's a direct drum. There's a seal in the drum here where the lip goes up. So this drum here actually houses a seal in the drum and two seals on the pistons. And these two pistons are a different size, and if you look on the seal, one will say direct or forward. If you look on this one here, it's very small, but it does say direct on it. And you can tell the seal, one seal is a little bit larger than the other. The larger seal goes with the forward. So we have a lip seal that goes down on the piston, and then the inner seal also. Now this piston I've taken and had it machined. I've had it put on a milling machine, and I've machined it to 730 thou. So 0.730. That allows you to get more clutches in. This is the forward. Again, we have our inner seal. The inner seals of both pistons are the same. Now that outer seal is a larger seal than the direct. And there's no seal in this drum, in the forward drum. Now I've also milled down the forward piston. I've milled it down to 700. And where you measure from is from here to here. Do not measure the slope part of the piston. So measure from here to here. You want 700 thou, which is just under 3/4 of an inch. And that's for the forward. So what we want to do is just go ahead and put our assembly lube or Dories or whichever you're using, regular grease. Lube the seals up, one in the drum on the direct. We're going to use a feeler gauge to put this piston in. I suggest a 10 thou feeler gauge. The thinner the better. You can buy stock that you can actually make them out of. There are special wire installers you can buy. It's just a loop, wire loop that's on the end of a handle so that the seal doesn't get cut. I just use a 10 thou feeler gauge. Make sure you get your assembly lube on all of that seal. I'm going to go ahead and use a 10 thou feeler gauge. Start on the inside. And go around to the outside seal. Gotta work at it. Just work it in. Same for the forward. Okay, so I've gone ahead and lubed the seal. Again, take your feeler gauge. Start at the inside one. Just work your feeler gauge around.
The 19th of this month. Originally slated for the Bronson Center, has now been moved to the Capitol Music Hall. Of course, Elias and the Envy. The opening show. And I should mention this, all tickets purchased for the show, of course.
And that's the two seals installed in the drums. Okay, so now that you've got your pistons in the drums, we want to go ahead and put our springs and retainers in. Now I happen to have spring retainers that the springs are fastened to the retainer itself. When you took yours apart, you may have come across a retainer like this with separate springs. The Pontiac usually comes with the with the springs attached to the retainers. You can go ahead and put them on, and they're different size. The smaller goes on the direct drum. The larger goes in the forward drum. And we can take our spring retainer, get them compressed with the tool. Get your 2 snap rings out. Go ahead and get our snap ring put on. Make sure it engages fully before you release the tool. Now in the forward drum, it has a shaft in it. What I did was press the shaft out so I can use the spring tool. You can use C-clamps on these to compress the spring retainers. They work fine. That's the forward drum. Your snap ring put on there. And that's the 2 drums assembled with the pistons. Okay, next we're going to get the rear piston ready. So we want to get our seals. There's 1 small, 1 medium-sized seal, and 1 large seal. Just be careful. There's 2 seals here. This is the extension housing seal. The wider seal is the second seal for the reverse piston. Okay, now we've also machined this for more clutches, and I've machined it to 2.160, and we want to machine it measure it from this lip here to the top of the piston. So if you want to get that machined, you can install more clutches, especially for a racing transmission. I would suggest it. We can go ahead and get our seals installed. Large one. These are non-lip seals. They do not have a lip. And the small seal goes in the center. Okay, at this point we're going to install the rear piston. It'll only go in one way. If you look, there'll be a notch on the piston, and if you look down in the case, you'll see the notch at the 12 o'clock position down there, right here. So we have to line that up with that notch. And we can just go ahead and push that piston right in. There is no lip on it. If you just move it, you can feel it hit that notch. I just take a pry bar and go around and tap it in until it bottoms out.